If you're in the theater community, or if you're Asian, or if you're both, you might have heard about the controversy surrounding the casting of Andrew Bart Feldman in Maybe Happy Ending. Maybe Happy Ending follows the story of two androids who fall in love in a futuristic version of Soul. That's fun. That's very cute. A big part of the outrage comes from the fact that he is replacing Darren Criss, who is Filipino-American, in a role in a show that prides itself on being Asian. While Feldman's casting is only temporary, Darren Criss is confirmed to be returning to the role in November, the casting still drew a lot of backlash to the point that B.D. Wong from Mulan and Jurassic Park fame wrote an open letter that got 2,400 signatures. I'm not entirely familiar with Maybe Happy Ending as a show. I've seen clips and promotions on TikTok like it was all over my For You page. Even if I've never watched the show or I've never listened to the soundtrack, I still think like it's nice to just have a show starring Asians that is not about like the Asian trauma of immigration or of tiger parenting. So silently, I guess I was rooting for the show. In response to the casting of Feldman, the producers kind of talked about how the lead roles were never really like explicitly coded to be Asian. They said, "We wrote a show about robots who could engage more intimately with the most basic human questions of love and loss, creating the roles of Oliver and Claire to be the avatars of these universal questions. They were meant to be products created by a global company and so never bore Korean names, even in the Korean version of the show. At the same time, we understand that for many in the AAPI community, the makeup of our opening night cast became meaningful and a rare point of visibility. We've heard how strongly people connected to that representation, even if it wasn't our original intent, and how this casting decision has reopened old wounds. Personally, I mourn the loss of what could have been a substantial role for an Asian actor, because now a precedent has been set with this casting, in the sense that now Asian actors can be pushed out of Oliver's casting pool when roles for Asian actors are already limited. Sure, it's tricky because the characters are androids and androids can present as white, but just because they can be white, should they be white? It's not like there's a shortage of strong Asian actors who could take over the role from Darren Criss. Like, for example, why can't we get Harry Shum Jr.? I'm sure Darren Criss and Harry Shum Jr. have like an intersection of fans considering both of them were in Glee. If it's a matter of star power, it's not like Andrew Bart Feldman is this like massive star or anything. He has a couple of mainstream credits, but like if you walk up to people in the streets and you ask him like, who's this guy? I'm sure people wouldn't know who he is. I think this casting is just incredibly confusing to me because Oh Mary, another show that is having a run on Broadway right now, they are consistently able to get Asian actors to play Mary's husband. They had Conrad Ricamora before and the role was succeeded by Kumail Nanjiani. Do they have to do this? Not really, but it's really awesome that they're doing this. I feel like if producers want it to happen, it can happen. In Maybe Happy Ending, they can definitely cast an Asian actor, but the producers just didn't do it. I feel like more people should be more outspoken about this because there is a lack of good roles for Asian actors, especially male or male representing actors. But overall, I feel like for Asian representation, it's getting better, but there are still room for improvement, and I feel like the audience should clamor for more Asian representation as well. I was especially upset when I saw that there was this huge deal about the casting in the new animated movie for The Last Airbender, the one that's due to come out next year about the adventures of the gang when they're older. The creators, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, made the decision to replace the original voice actors with new ones. The decision was made because the characters are older now and they want to have the ethnicity of the actors match the ethnicity of the characters. So now you have Eric Nam, Stephen Yeun, Jessica Matten, Roman Zaragoza, Dion Kwan, and Dave Bautista as the new cast. It's really great to see like these actors getting these roles, and I think it's great that we're getting fresh voices as well. They're not like big celebrity names.
Who will be played by Chris Pratt. He's so cool.
And I think, people should be happy about it because people have always been saying that. But a lot of people want the old cast back. I get if it's a matter of nostalgia, but at the same time, the gang also had different voice actors in The Legend of Korra. Why was there not more backlash for that? meanwhile, we're seeing backlash for this. I mean, yeah, I guess the OG voice actors were still kind of young when Korra first premiered in 2012, and these actors' ages matches the characters around this time. But shouldn't we be celebrating the fact that these actors are getting these roles? Roles that are complex and not stereotypes. Roles from a beloved cartoon that everybody loves. We should be congratulating them because I know how hard it is to get roles like these, because as someone trying to be an actor too, there's not much roles I can go for. So like getting something like this would have been so massive for them. Like they can actually do like good character work as well. Like why are we not happy for them? If you're chronically online, chances are you have seen Uncle Roger or Stephen He. Uncle Roger is famous for his reaction to people cooking fried rice.
Oh, no. Putting jam in rice.
Meanwhile, Stephen He is the emotional damage guy.
Emotional damage!
Uncle Roger is not a real person. He's a fictional character created by Nigel Ong, a Malaysian comedian, and he's meant to be a caricature of those Asian uncles. Stephen He, meanwhile, is a content creator who usually does videos about East Asian parenting stereotypes. I have to admit, I have kind of mixed feelings about these people. I understand how hard it is to stand out when you're creating content, like I'm creating content right now. And in the beginning, I thought it was fun to watch them, especially when they were still like smaller creators, so they feel like hidden gems within the Asian community. And then they became mainstream and it became hard for me to distinguish whether people outside of the Asian community are laughing with them or at them. As in, are these people watching these videos and are like, oh, funny Asian men with exaggerated accents? Or are they watching it because they think it is interesting and informational? In a research by Yifan Wu, it is acknowledged that Uncle Roger's accent can create connection with a diasporic audience. And in some ways, it challenges white hegemony by constructing a proud Asian identity and criticizing the misrepresentation of Asian cultures. Because he's making all of these comments about how people are very much disrespecting the way that Asian people are making fried rice.
Rice dishes and that kind of street food, which is beautiful, it's often associated with being unhealthy. This has been made to be healthy.
If by healthy you mean disgusting, then Jamie, you are right.
But at the same time, Wu acknowledges that Uncle Roger can produce a stigmatized stereotype surrounding the way Asians speak. It's a double-edged sword. I guess I'm curious about whether or not Nigel Ong or Stephen He feel the pressure to play into these stereotypes to continue having opportunities, because sometimes this could be the only way you can have a career. Kumail Nanjiani spoke about how during an audition, he was asked to do an exaggerated Indian accent. He refused to do it, but the role is still cast. And I honestly can't blame the other actor for attempting the accent and getting the role, because roles are scarce for Asian actors, especially for male or male representing actors. And sometimes when you're a struggling actor, you don't have the privilege to refuse roles, and so you have to do these stereotypical roles to pay your bills. But it does beg the question, do we as Asian creators, artists, or actors have to other ourselves in order to be accepted? Is this the price that we have to pay to tell our stories? Consider the more popular stories centering Asian people. It is often about our migrant experiences. It is absolutely true. Most of the time we are migrants and we do have that kind of like diaspora. But at the same time, will we ever go beyond these kinds of stories? Maybe Happy Ending was groundbreaking because Asian actors and characters are able to be portrayed beyond just like their migrant experiences or their diasporic experience, because it shows that Asian people can encompass a different identity and they can be more than what people perceive us to be. The fact is, representation does matter. Nicole Park writes for the Center for Scholars and Storytellers, Asian children will subconsciously internalize an omission of Asian faces in the content they watch as an indication of their perceived invisibility or the box they are subjected to in the workplace and the world. Research shows that people exhibit feelings like shame and anxiety when viewing stereotypical representations of their racial group, even those framed as exaggeration or parody. And Asian stereotypes in movies and TV have been far too visible for far too long. In the same article, Park talks about how Asian Americans are often portrayed as model minorities. These people are hardworking, diligent, but they never possess leadership qualities. In a research by Sri Ganesh Varun Nagaraj and Chien Puwen, they wrote that Asian roles tend to be those of the yellow peril, dragon lady, China doll, or kung fu master variety. That is, if the roles are not whitewashed. Common stereotypes also include Asian people not being hot or desirable, especially the men. They cannot speak English or without accents. They are clumsy or weird, or they are disliked or disrespected by Americans. However, things are getting better. In a 2020 research, it was found that the frequency of lead roles for Asian Americans have increased in the last 25 years. Asian Americans do have better roles that are stereotype resisting. Their characters can be loyal, brave, mischievous, but stereotype confirming roles still persist, with Asian Americans still being portrayed as emasculated, timid, and nerdy. In my personal opinion, a way to address this is, of course, to let more people of color behind the scenes to allow more authentic representation, but to also give more opportunities to Asian actors. For example, as much as I like Thunderbolts and I thought Louis Pullman did such a great job as Bob, I wonder how that role would have been portrayed if the role had remained Stephen Yeun's role, because Stephen Yeun was originally cast as Bob. I want to go to that universe. I want to see how that one went. Anyhow, what do you guys think? Did you know about this maybe happy ending controversy? Do you have opinions about it as well? Do you have any favorite Asian actors? I would like to know, because if you don't know any, that's a problem. That's a problem. We need to fix that. Anyway, all those questions, please answer them in the comment section below. If you like this video, please consider liking, sharing it, commenting on it. Just engage with it. Overall, all the support would be much appreciated. And why not subscribe to the channel too? And of course, I do have my Fantastic Four cup right here. I'm actually wondering if I have to feature this cup in every single video I'm doing in order for it to be considered a tax write-off. I don't know. Anyway, have a good day and goodbye.